Hi there, this is Dr. Knotts, and I want to talk to you on the subject of child rearing and conditioning your child. The Bible tells us that we should raise up a child in the way that it should go, and when it is old, it will not depart from it. In psychology, that's called conditioning. Within the first 2 years of a child's life, you establish what is called the foundation for the intellect. It's where the identity is going to come from, where the psyche is going to function from. It's the foundation of the hierarchy. And how that child is raised will determine how they evaluate things, what their belief system is, and how they'll function in social settings. If we raise a child in a home that's very loving, yet firm to the rules of God's Word, in other words, you teach them right from wrong, obedience, love, you teach them all the characteristics of the Scriptures. And that child, when it's older, will not depart from those ways. In other words, that will become its way of life, its normality. People will become what the environment of their home dictates in their early years. They may forget it. They may say they're never going to be like that. That's why an abuser may say they'll never be like their father, but yet they become just like their father if he's an abuser. People will become just like what the early home environment is. Women will unconsciously seek out men that are like their father. Men will seek out women that are like their mother. Your intellect, what we call the suggestibility factor, whether you're physically suggestible, emotionally suggestible, whether you're a somnambulist, or whether you're what we call an intellectual, will be determined by that early home setting. An intellectual is somebody that's raised in what I would call a Christian home that's been following the dictums of the Scriptures. An intellectual is one of those people that they used to say could not be hypnotized, but if you understand how the brain of an intellectual works, or a somnambulist, they said that somnambulists and emotionals couldn't be hypnotized, that only physicals could. But you can hypnotize any person. The intellectual is the one who, when you ask them a question, you say, "Can I ask you your name?" They'll respond by, "Why do you want to know my name?" The way that they respond to questions like that will tell you whether they're a physical, an emotional somnambulist, which is somebody that's already in a hypnotic state, or an intellectual. The physical will say yes. In other words, he gives you a direct answer to a direct question. The emotional will see it as an inference. "Can I ask you your name?" They'll believe that you're inferring that you want to know their name. So they'll say Jane Doe or John Doe. They'll just tell you the name. A somnambulist will be both physical and emotional, and they'll say, "Yes, my name is Jane Doe or John Doe." But the intellectual will say, "Why do you want to know my name?" So in order to hypnotize intellectual, they have to actually hypnotize themselves. They have to be a part of it. And why is this? It's because they have a very grounded mind. They're very sure of themselves and their environment. And when you raise a child to know God, to trust in God, and to hold to the teachings of the Scriptures, that child will have a very biblically based mind and way of thinking. They will accept their situation, their circumstances, and they'll be an intellectually based suggestible, which means you can't hypnotize them unless they want to be a part of it, and you can't just suggest things. They won't just accept or swallow things. So this is Dr. Knotts. Conditioning is whatever the environment is, and it conditions you to be to that effect. So if you raise your child to know the Scriptures, to give them a well-balanced home, not one where there's irrationalities, where there's flaring of emotions, to where it goes from being all or nothing, it has to be a balance, that child will grow up and they will be a good, godly, loving others and serving Christ type of a person. Yeah. However we raise that child, especially in the first two years, 4 is at the end of that what we call the apex point. First 4 years, it's over. After that, what happens in those first 4 years will determine how that child will respond the rest of their lives. So this is Dr. Knotts, and I hope this has been a blessing to you. Lord bless you in your endeavors to serve Him and to be good parents. In Christ's name we do pray.